Thought you were done? Think again. Writing is rewriting. You can always make things a little better. There's a saying that good publications are never finished. You just run out of time. Few stories are ever written perfectly in their first draft. Most require rethinking, restructuring, and rewording. Your story is good. Now make it better. Here are 5 reasons to hit the delete key. You want to avoid passive verbs. Start sentences with their subject. Lightning struck the person, not the person was struck by lightning. Replace to be with a stronger verb. See the Using Strong Verbs handout for more. Don't be redundant. Avoid unnecessary modifiers. It's not a personal opinion. It's just an opinion. The personal is implied. Cut out wordy sentences. Again, a story isn't a term paper that needs to be a specific number of pages. Never use 5 words when 3 will do. Don't use jargon and journalese that your readers might not understand. Now, jargon is a language spoken by bureaucrats, or a language that is recognizable to a certain profession, but not to the general public. Jargon excludes people from understanding it, so you want to avoid it. Journalese is journalistic jargon. Omit it. Now, you already know not to end a story with a cliche. Well, don't put one in the middle or beginning of the story either. Lucky for you, you have an editor to help you with the rewrite process. Before you write, the editor helps you by assigning the story. Now, you might come up with an idea on your own, or you might have it given to you. Your editor can help you plan the angle of the story. If you're covering the county fair, for example, how do you plan to tell it in a way that hasn't been told before? Your editor will estimate the scope of your story by telling you how many column inches you're expected to fill. The editor also anticipates packaging. That's everything that goes along with the story. Will it need photos, sidebars, charts, graphics, timelines? During the writing process, the editor will notify you of any new developments about the story. Monitor your speed to ensure the story will be turned in by deadline. Help you fine-tune your story by asking the right questions. And monitor any layout changes. If a new ad comes in, your story length might be cut in half. Or maybe another journalist won't be able to make deadline, so your story just doubled in size. Just when you think you're done with the story, the editor will help you edit the content to ensure it is objective, truthful, and fair. The editor or copy editor will copy edit the story to ensure you're following AP style and your newsroom style. If there are any more layout changes, the editor will help cut or pad the story as needed. And finally, the editor will assign any follow-up stories. Every news outlet maintains a style book of some kind. For instance, how does the newspaper refer to people being quoted? Does it just give the person's age and full address? Or just age and city of residence? For a student newspaper, do you identify all students by major and class? What about hometown? There's no right or wrong answer as to how you should identify something. Once it's been decided, it's the copy desk's job to standardize the style and make sure that all journalists follow it. Good journalists know AP style as well as their news outlet style, as it means they won't have to do as many rewrites later. By now you've seen what an AP style book looks like, but what about an individual publication style? Here are some examples from the NC State Student Media Style Guide. Now, sometimes they list exceptions to AP style rules, like in the first entry for datelines. The third entry is for dead week, an old term used to refer to the last week of classes, specific to NC State, that wouldn't make it into any other publication style guide. And the fifth entry is for departments, showing how an academic department's name should or should not be capitalized. As a college newspaper deals with this issue a lot, it's appropriate for it to be in the publication style guide. News outlets are deadline-driven organizations. Deadlines are mandatory. If the newspaper goes to press at midnight and you don't turn in your story until 12:15, your story isn't going to be published in that paper. Meanwhile, something else had to go in place of your story. Now, to get your story ready for deadline, refer to the deadline checklist in your textbook. Is the story accurate, fair, and balanced? Is the writing style the best fit for the story? So what happens if you miss a deadline? Okay, so you're not going to die, but you are going to push back everyone else's deadline. If you don't submit your story on time, your editor and copy editor won't have time to catch mistakes. The design editor will have less time to put the story on the page, which means it might not look as good in the paper as it could have. Most importantly, if your story is really late, it will make the whole newspaper miss deadline, which means it won't be ready to distribute on time and be delivered late to newsstands and subscribers. The newspaper can also incur fines from its printer, as the press operators now have to work overtime. Finally, Harrower offers a list of 66 boring but important news writing tips. I'll highlight just a few. Keep leads short and concise. Get the reader interested in reading the rest of the story. Paragraphs should generally contain only one major idea. Always double check and then triple check the spelling of all names. A name is a person's identity, and you don't want to get it wrong. Avoid words that reinforce stereotypes about a person's race, ethnicity, age, gender identity, or sexual orientation. Instead of using he or she, try using a plural pronoun to include those who might be outside the gender binary. And when in doubt about using a comma, leave it out.